Hello everyone, we're proud to announce the release of the new hazard register. We spent months researching best practices on reporting hazards and controlling them, and have updated a lot of processes and back-end settings to enable much more functionality, and of course, it's easy to use. On the surface, the hazard register looks fairly similar, but it's when you go to report a hazard that you can see all of the new functions. So first, let's report a hazard. I've turned on all of the functions related to new hazards so we can see each one, and you can test how relevant they are to your site and adjust the settings in your own system. First up, we'll select the site, we'll have a hazard title. We can also rate the risk according to your risk matrix here. Select any applicable hazard types. The system comes with a set of 6 default hazards. You can edit and change these as well. Upload any data as well and extra descriptions. Link the hazard to an activity, a machine, a chemical or department. Upload any supporting evidence as well, such as photos or files, and who it's reported by. You can also be kept up to date in relation to the hazard, the stages of the hazard as well. And submit. So before we continue on to the assess and control stage, let's look at the back-end settings that define what the hazard form looks like. The main one is asking the opinion via a simple question of the user. They think this hazard is high risk. If they tick yes, we can pre-set up who actions and how quickly this new hazard submission needs to be assessed. If no, it goes through the standard hazard assessment process, which you can also define in the general settings. Alternatively, you can display one of your own risk matrix, like in that previous form, and the user will choose the relevant risk score for the hazard. If it's over the threshold setting here, it will automatically be classed as high risk. All the other questions here can be shown or hidden according to these settings. And one of the great new features is you can now set up and assign responsibilities to assess and control hazards. This way you can build your team of capable staff at each site to address the hazards as soon as they're submitted. You also have the added feature of hazard notification alerts. So if a certain person wants to be notified of all new hazards at their site or sites, you can set that up too. In the general settings, I've talked about the high-risk hazards before. This is where we define what happens with a high-risk hazard. We can define when it needs to be assessed and by whom. And we also have the standard settings too, so we can define fallback notifications if you've missed a particular site in your responsibilities, or if that staff member is away, someone will always be notified. We can also define the settings for reporting hazards by checklist, plant and equipment, and incident processes as well. So let's now assess that hazard. Go. So we can review or edit the hazard that was reported. So we can fix spelling mistakes or update wording, things like that. Do this here. And the next step is assessing the hazard. So first up, we want to add or identify any risks associated with this hazard. So we'll go through the process here. So it's assessed by risk description, if it relates to any positions or responsibilities. We can choose our risk matrix and give it a risk score. And then save the risk, and then move on to managing that risk now. So here we come into our control measures. So we can add as many as required. We can look at elimination. We've added a couple for isolation and substitution. So we're going to rope off the error so no one touches it. And then we've also got associated actions with that as well. So for this one, we've added the site, substitution. Now we move on to managing the risk. So here we come into our control measures here. So we've got elimination, isolation, substitution, engineering, admin, and PPE, all through the hierarchy of control. You can add as many as you like, add as many actions as well. So anything that needs to be done, we can see whether or not it's been implemented, who's responsible for it, and a due date as well. All of these move on to the action register, and that person will be alerted for those action items as well. Once the actions are complete, then you can jump back in and review the hazard and risks and its controls, and also set a future review date and responsible person. Well, that's a quick overview of the new module. We'll be releasing a more in-depth webinar shortly. Thanks for watching.